What's up, everyone? I'm sure you have all been waiting for this. Well, here is my review of Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 Remake, after having spent over 100 hours in it. It was quite a while, and I gained much experience from it. And, well, due to time constraint, I will mostly cover the gameplay in general, and if you have any specific questions, I will answer you in the comments. So first things first, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8, the original, is pretty near and dear to me. You see, over 2 decades ago, coming from Romance of Three Kingdoms 7, I I relished the idea that I could be an officer other than a typical ruler, and that when the 8 it came out, which expanded on the RPG gameplay that 7 had, it allowed me to become sworn brothers with some of my favorite characters, and I had really fond memories of that. I don't know, maybe because I was younger and I was more giddy and I like that kind of stuff. Anyway, with that said, 8 Remake expanded upon the original by adding in all sorts of interactions and relationship between your characters. They kept the whole having kids thing too, and raising them from the 8 Power-Up Kit, which is the expansion. And, you know, this is where the whole raising kids thing all started as well. And they even they even make authentic baby noises in it. In fact, I'm pretty sure the baby picture they use now is the same one that they did in the original. In any case, even if you're not a role player, the relationship system confers bonuses to literally everything that you do. And I mean literally everything. Now, it's not perfect, but I can appreciate that they did a pretty decent job at bringing the characters of the Three Kingdoms to life. Now, my personal gripe is that they chose to not have Chinese voice for this game. The inclusion of famous voice actors in Japan, like the Kiryu voice or Dio voice, is pretty cute. But, well, how can I say this? I guess it just makes the whole experience kind of anime rather than a Chinese historical simulator. I suppose those who don't understand Chinese or Japanese probably really wouldn't mind either way. But I mean, like, it's not like I really mind either. It's just, I mean, like, the original doesn't even have voices to begin with. It's just, I can't help but feel like they did this to show off their funny anime voices that they managed to hire. And, well, maybe that'll help them get sales. I don't know. But it just, it just doesn't feel very authentic. But anyway, as for gameplay, I think the battles kind of sours the experience a bit. Now, I'm not complaining because it's too easy or too hard, as there's, these things are different for everybody. And it's just that, I don't know, they're just not working. So, how are they not working? Well, the AI, they seem to favor spreading themselves a little too thin. And I'm not just talking about, like, how they would, easily be baited away because you're stepping in their aggro and you draw them away from a tower. That's a problem, but it's not just that. It's, see, the thing is that the AI, see, they like to leave their units, like, near the defense towers. This is mostly for offense, but they like to leave their units near the defense towers. So what happened is that they're separate from the rest of the force if you were to take a separate path. Now, if something were to happen elsewhere, they would happily stay in their post and not come out if the main army's in trouble. So, in doing so, you can just pick them off one by one. Now, if the main army is in trouble and they were able to encircle your troops when their friends are being attacked, I think that would make more sense, because otherwise, you're just picking them off one by one, and I think that cheapens the whole fight when you're fighting someone really strong, but, you're only fighting half their army at a time. Of course you kick their ass. I mean, I can see where they're going with this by, spreading them into different positions. But, I mean, look, if it's an AI versus AI fight, they will both do the same. And I think that's actually kind of cool, allowing the full use of the map. But if a player's in charge, usually they'll stick together because of bonuses. And they'll decide to go and, go with their army as one. Chances are the AI will react rather poorly. And, well, you just systematically take them apart. And I think that's really one of the first things they should fix with the AI. Honestly, they did a really good job at 14 with this. In 14, if you try doing something like that, a separate army may circle around your back, cut off your supplies, and then you're really screwed then. So, in 14, you would have to try to control the area around the battlefield so that, such a horrible thing doesn't happen. You will also have to take other villages so that the villages don't spread influence and cut off your supply route. I thought 14 was actually a really good game. I know a lot of people don't really like 14 all that much, but it honestly covers a lot of what a grand strategy game should have. But it also has its own share of problems, but we're talking about 8 Remake. Anyway, so another problem I find with the AI, with spreading themselves too thin, is during a coalition battle. So, in a coalition, generally, you have to wait like 6 to 8 turns while allies all over the world arrive, They take a while. So, even the ones closest to you will have to wait for the rest to come. Now, that's not a problem for the player, because you can just, have your units sit around until they show up. But the AI, oh man, the AI, they will not take advantage of this. They'll march forward on their own, and the battle will either be decided. No, they'll always be decided. Not just either. They'll always be decided before the allies arrive. Usually, it hasn't been decided. It's because they're strong enough to probably even take them on their own. I don't know. That was just based from my experience using it. Coalition is very overpowered, honestly. I don't know how much I like it. But it is also a unique thing. Like, it was unique to 8, and so they brought it back, and I thought it was cool. It's just, I don't know. It can be quite beautifully abused. But of course, once the opponent is weak enough, then no one will join your coalition. They only join because, Cao Cao was super strong. They don't want him to take over the world, so they'll gang up on him. That kind of thing. Anyway, so what was... But yeah, I was just saying how, they march forward on their own, and I could take full advantage of that and seize all the land in the name of the coalition while they attack, they fail, and they just kind of like not be able to do anything. So I take all the land, and they just kind of support me in doing it. That's pretty much how the coalition is. In any case, that's also a problem with another game mechanic. There's an ambush mechanic, right? So how ambush work in this game is if you attack someone while you're hidden, like in tall grass or behind some rocks or something like that, you'll launch a surprise attack that can cause fear and lower morale. But the AI will once again more than happily move on their own and break from wherever they're hiding to get themselves killed. Now, if ambushers would wait until the most opportune time, or if their hiding is no longer effective or viable because, you're attacking somewhere else, then, that would, I think, provide a more realistic experience. And finally, link forges. Where you combo with your friends to do massive damage. Yeah, you can create relationship with other characters, and they help out with everything. So, battles are no exception. That can lead to very, very high damage increases if you stick around with your friends all the time. So it encourages you to bundle up into a small army, and not small army, like your army all together, and since the AI spread themselves thin and they don't actually do anything about it, it gives you plenty of advantages. And also, the AI don't create bonds of their own. So if a player is in charge of battling, and you can control where they attack and where they go, battles become quickly lopsided, and Well, as you already know, you get baited, and then link forges, and you do tons of damage to those units, and yeah, you destroy them. Like I said, it wouldn't be much of a problem if AI could, take a separate path and attack your base, but they won't do that because, well, cities and castles in this game has ton of HP, and battles are usually decided by simply defeating the opposing army. If you see like a group of enemies attacking your base, honestly, that would be a very bad move on their part, because that thing has like over 10,000 HP at its worst. And 10,000 HP is not that easy to take down. At least not in an instant, unless you have link forges. Guess what? Yeah, I don't have link forges, so they can't do that. So I think that as a result, with all these player advantages, it might actually be more fun to play this game when you can only control your own unit, so that you can have a more authentic experience, quote unquote, in battle. But well, that leads to another problem, where your own allies are doing incredibly stupid things from time to time. So in the end, really the AI just needs work, and I hope that Koei can do something about it. The fact that hard difficulty really just lowers the maximum troops you can have in a city, and, well, it's the city of your force, your entire force. Like, say if you're serving someone, your entire force will also have lowered troops. That actually makes it really hard, and trust me. Well, in terms of campaign map. But there are ways to counter that, too. You just transport your troops from somewhere else. It's just, it's just more work, that's all. Anyway, so the fact that they do that is because they're not confident in their AI. And I fear that in the future, when they release like veteran or extreme difficulty, all they'll just be doing is raise the stats of the units that you fight, instead of making it, harder by, I don't know, just making it harder naturally. Like, the problem with this is that, especially when you raise the stats of enemy troops, is that then your allies are useless. Your allies that don't have the buffs are useless. So the difficulty is just because, you're trying to counter the player. That's great, but then what about the rest of your allies? They suffer for it. They don't get any bonuses. If they attack a city that you're not in, and you can somehow control the fight, well, guess what? They lose, and I think they'll still lose. Even in auto battle, there's just nothing you can do about it, and I don't like that, and I really, really hate that. When I play 14, that's the problem they had with veteran and extreme difficulty. They boost the stats so high that unless you're there personally to direct the troops, you can't use your viceroy to take territories. You can't count on them to do anything, because they'll just get destroyed. So yeah, that considering the emphasis on, a living and breathing world that Romance of Three Kingdoms 8 seems to want to promote, something like that just feels completely out of place. Then it just feels like, it's a game that's just set up to, fight against the player. I don't like the idea that they set up everything for the player either, so I wish they could, tone that down. Anyway, well, bad AI, has always been a thing with these types of games, so... But, if you're gonna have all these awesome features like ambushes and those funny defense bases, I think you should at least have your AI take advantage of them, so they don't get baited away from their bases, and have AI build bonds over time. Look, Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, it's not a very deep game, but they have characters like marry each other, like after a certain amount of time. So, I think Koei, should be able to do something like that, but I think they're lazy, they can at least lower the damages from Link Forge a little bit, but really they just need to, make this living, breathing world that they already have and put more emphasis into it to even it up a little. Anyway, I've just been saying negative stuff, but, the dueling system, though, oh man, that is actually pretty good. It looks like a simple card game, right? But it's actually a tough game about managing resources and thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead of your opponents. Basically, you and your opponent will try to beat each other by combining cards and creating card combos. The one who plays the most cards wins. And if they use the same amount of cards, the one with the most card value wins. However, sometimes it's better to purposely lose so that you can have your opponent blow like all their stuff in one move, and then you can crush them in the following rounds. So you can only draw like 2 cards per round. So if you use too much, later on in later rounds you might not be able to build a combo, or you simply don't have enough cards. Combining that with a wild card system that adds a number of cards that you can use, and when you do use it and win, you boost your attack power, you have a very, very unpredictable system that I think surpasses all the duel systems before it. Look, I love 10 and I love 11's duel system. I think they're a lot of fun, but they're very, very skill oriented. I don't mean like player skills. I mean like they're based on unlockable skills or weapons that you have equipped. 13 was really just rock, papers, and scissors. And, the 8 original, that was even worse. Like, I have a strategy for just expending counterattacks, expending energies for counterattacks, and that allows me to win pretty much all the duels I come across. They could be like 10 war above me, and, I would still kick their ass. I mean, a dueling here does have some luck involved, because, you're drawing cards, playing poker. And depending on those card draws, well, it could get rather bad. But I think it's better than it's being simply, completely random like the other games where you don't even get to control your duel at all. So, a guy on Reddit during my AMA asked me if how I would score this game out of 100. I told him, this is subjective, and, I'm not even concrete about it yet. But if he must really have a number, I gave him 69. Ha ha! But really, as a game, compared to other games, I think something, like a 70 is really a fair score. Well, I might even be a little too generous, obviously, but look, it's not a very deep game. It could be if the AI plays better, but they don't. And raising their stats for difficulties would only just make it shallow. So I can understand now if this was an RPG game where you're traveling with your troops in a party and fighting other parties like Destiny of Emperor, but it's not like that. It's not an RPG game. It's a grand strategy game. We play Romance of Three Kingdoms because it's a grand strategy game, and it should act like a grand strategy game. So unfortunately, with these issues, it doesn't feel very, very good as a grand strategy game, and that's why I rate this game as a 69. Now, if I were to rate it like a Romance of the Three Kingdoms game, well, I suppose I guess it would be higher, like 80 or 90. But as it stands, like, compared to other games, and even like comparing to previous Romance of Three Kingdoms games where they have better grand strategy elements, I think a 70 sounds reasonable. Because really, when you think about it, right? The game in its current form is really just a social RPG game that plays like a graphics novel. And if you like to roleplay, well, that's great. You get more mileage out of it. But, I love my Three Kingdom characters. I like Three Kingdoms very much. And, it's a great game. If it's a romance game, if I rate it as a romance game, like I said, it would be an 80-90. But, well, as a grand strategy game, it just spoils it for me, man. It's really unfortunate. The original 8 was honestly really bad when you actually, look at it again. And I played it very recently, multiple times because of the 8 remake being released, and I was hyped as hell for it. I don't, getting too hyped up in a game is really not such a good idea because, when you actually play it and be disappointed, oh man, it sucks. Now, I don't think it's that disappointing. In fact, I had a lot of fun with it. Otherwise, how the hell would I play for 100 hours? But, I feel like they're still kind of holding back. I think they're holding back for a power-up kit or an expansion, like much like 13 is Prestige system. I don't know how many of you played Romance of Three Kingdoms 13 before they had its expansion, because it was kind of like bare bones. It was fun, but the whole social aspect and everything does get a little repetitive, and we have the battles itself, which is super easy. It was. I had great stories with it. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of people watched those videos and had a lot of fun watching it. But in the end, when it comes down to it, it wasn't a very hard game. It was not very well made. So I think that this game has potential to be better. They just need to work on their AI a little bit. But anyway, as I was saying, I think they're holding back. And without the prestige systems, it's, I think 13 currently is a better RPG game than this one. Because, you can be a bandit, you can be a merchant, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can be an assassin, for God's sake. Although assassin in that one is horribly made. It could have been done better. But at least you can be an assassin. You can just kill people. Kill whoever you like. At random. It's actually pretty insane. If, people come over and actually, give me like jobs to kill people, that would be swell. But for some reason, it's just some kind of homicidal system where you just go around and just pick a target and kill them for no reason. Anyway, this is what 8 should have had. But like I said, they're holding back, and that's honestly stupid, because I think when it comes to, releasing games, they should be working on releasing a masterpiece and then worry about adding things later that they might have forgotten. It's not like they haven't done this before, because 13 exists. And, I feel like it's always been their MO with regards to Three Kingdoms, I guess. It's just, I really want to rate this game higher, but, I just can't, because it hasn't reached its full potential yet. So anyway, I guess that's really all I could really say about this game for the time being. Now, if things improve, I'll have to make an update. So, yeah, that's about it. I thank you all for watching. Until next time.